Welcome to the Killing Podcast, Season 4, Episode 3, The Good Soldier. What the heck does that mean? All right, we're your hosts, Martha Southgate and...
Rob Southgate.
All right, jump in. How about this first freaking scene?
Okay, so the way the last one ended, we saw Sarah outside looking at Bethany, which is Skinner's daughter, and I was assuming that she was just like, she was nervous about her, she was kind of keeping tabs, like, what's this about? This one starts with the next morning, Sarah's still there. Bethany gets on her bike and rides away, and Sarah peels out and looks like she's going to hit her.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think she was...
What is up with that?
Do you think she was actually going to hit her?
I kind of do. Like she's gone so far overboard that she was actually going to take this kid out. Why else was she doing it?
Well, okay, so there's another key moment to this. It looks like she's going to, like, run her down. Bethany has headphones on, so she doesn't hear any of this. And a car pulls out in front of Sarah, and Sarah almost hits him, and then it kind of breaks this, and she drives off. And Bethany is completely unaware, just rides away.
Yeah.
If that car had not come in there,
Sarah would have hit her.
I do not like to think that Sarah would have actually hit her.
I think she was in sort of a fugue state.
See, I like to think that she would have gone and, like, pulled up to her and yelled at her or something.
No.
The thought of her hitting a kid with the car puts her so far over the line that I'm creeped out by it.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, so she tells Holder that she...
Oh, wait, it's raining.
Of course.
Well, you remember last season?
Yeah,
we didn't have as much rain. But this one, man, it's raining.
So she tells Holder that she can't find the second shell, the bullet.
Right, he gets in the car with her.
And she has to confess that she can't find it. What the heck? She has been so sloppy. You know, it's
right.
Like, here
and they start talking about these things. And one of the things she brings up to him is his LoJack. Because he was driving the police vehicle, and he's like, no, I checked, the LoJack was disabled. And they're like kind of going through the little things that they may have forgotten, like the shell cases.
Well, like she says, I got rid of the gun.
Yeah.
Because, that was sort of one of the things that she held out on doing. And,
right.
He had told her the night before, get rid of this stuff. You've got to get rid of the gun. So she said, I got rid of the gun. And Holder got rid of the car. He dealt with the car.
Yeah.
And he tells her at this point that Carolyn's pregnant.
Oh, my God. He says he won't go to jail for Skinner and that Carolyn's pregnant. I mean, it's like this. What is going on? I mean, it seems like, they're working this case, they're good detectives, and everything else is out of control.
Yes, absolutely falling apart.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So Kyle's family's funeral is that day, and Kyle looks over and sees Sarah and Holder and disrupts the funeral. He walks over to yell at them for being there because, I mean, really, it wasn't appropriate.
Well, of course.
But it's Sarah and Holder. They're
right, of course. They're like oblivious to this. But, okay, I get it. But it is the funeral. So be subtle. They're not being subtle. They're like standing off to the side. But it's not
every
subtle.
Funeral, on shows like this, they always show the detective standing at a tree.
Right.
And it's like, they're just...
they're not standing at a tree. They're standing by their car, like, super obvious. But yeah, it does. It shows them, like, standing on the side by a tree.
But we've been to a lot of funerals.
Right.
Our 2-year-old had been to 9 by the time she was turned 3.
Right.
But this doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
they always show them, like, they have the whole funeral right at the graveside.
Right,
and they do the whole thing. It's like that.
No, well, this made sense, though, because they had all the cadets and they were carrying the coffin and they were putting it in. Like, this did make sense. We went to a funeral that was a military funeral, and it was very much like that. So this makes sense. Them being there, they said they're waiting to see if Katrina shows up.
Mm-hmm. Not very subtly.
Not very subtly. So, yes, I bought all this. I actually bought them standing by their car like that a lot more than I usually buy, where the detectives are kind of hanging out. And
by the tree.
Yeah. I also loved that Kyle went and confronted them.
Yeah.
Because that's something else that doesn't happen. It's always like something afterwards, like, what were you doing here? He's in a bad place. And he just steps out of the funeral like, you're not doing this. This isn't happening. I liked that. I liked how this is all playing out.
All right, Carl. Carl's a big problem.
Carl is a problem.
And
like you said, he's picked a hell of a time to be a good detective.
Exactly. He's picked a bad time to turn it back on.
Right.
So he interviews Skinner's wife.
Right.
And she tells him that she told Holder about the cabin at the lake.
Wait, she doesn't say it was Holder. She says
she describes him.
That she told the greasy cop with the chin hair that her husband was up at the cabin.
Poor Holder, man. That guy.
I mean, every time it's
Eminem,
like Slim Shady, Bugs Bunny. Now he's the greasy guy with the chin hair. But she says that she told him that her husband went up to the cabin. Of course, Carl knows. Like, wait a minute. So you had contact with Holder. And tell me about this cabin. Like, this is all, like, falling in Carl's
especially
lap.
Because he knows what Holder's alibi was that night, and it isn't matching up.
Right, it's not matching up. So Carl jumps on the phone, tries Skinner's phone, leaves a message. Hey, it's Carl, give me a call. Not expecting... He doesn't know that Skinner's dead, but he's suspecting there's something up. And I'm sure he was not expecting Skinner to answer the phone. He said he's left messages, but this one, it was like, I'm going to make this call. Then he calls Holder's phone, gets the voicemail, and just hangs up. Because he's got a wild hair right now.
Well, for good reason. My gosh, these guys are sloppy. I mean, they're really...
Well, I think it was just such a shocking incident. And yes, they're detectives and they know what to do, but they're not professional criminals.
No.
And they're...
all the more reason they should have just told the freaking truth from the beginning.
Right. Yeah, but once again, if they did, she ends up in prison for life. Even though I think that
I think she would have gotten... I think that the code would have...
I think the code would have kicked in.
Yeah.
But
because in this case, if they dredged up 100 bodies in that lake, you really think they're going to put her in jail for killing that scumbag.
Right.
They're going to go, you did it wrong, but we're going to cover that part up because we're going to protect you and this guy. I mean, this is
But once
horrible.
again, even if they did that at this point, these loose ends that we're seeing are still going to come up.
Well, they can't do it
Skinner's
now.
If Skinner shows up dead at the lake, okay, and Sarah has admitted that she killed him, okay, and she tells the whole thing, Skinner's wife is out there, knowing that Sarah was with him, knowing that she sent Holder up there. When the press gets a hold of it, they're gonna go to his wife. And she's going to say, they would have to cover her up too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's like, it's simple to think, yes, if they had come forward, it would be covered up by the code, whatever. But there's people involved. There's Adrian. There's her.
Yeah, but apparently she's willing to run them all down with her car.
Right.
So Kyle is speaking.
Can we change her name to the Mower? Because she mows them down.
Kyle was speaking at the funeral, and it was awkward, to say the least. And the colonel comes up to him afterward, and Kyle said, I really should have written something down. Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
You think you could do a speech like that?
Did you catch what he said? Did you write down what he said? Because what he says is...
Of course I did. I wrote the whole speech.
But it's very brief. The second part of it's like, thank you all for coming or whatever. This is tragic. And then he says, some people think I did it. That's what he says.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and that's why it's so awkward. I mean, it's just...
And he just leaves it hanging there.
Yeah, well, because he's a kid. He doesn't know what to say. I'm glad that the colonel talked to him.
Yeah. And she made him feel better.
Right. And she says he did fine, even though he shouldn't have said that. And, of course, the whole time this scene is taking place where she's being human with him and everything, Holder and Sarah are still there. They're sitting in their car watching the whole thing. Hey. So as much as you want them to, you want them to back off of this kid on the day of his parents' funeral, but they kind of have to be a fly on the wall.
They're not good at that.
No, they're not really a fly on the wall.
More like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah. Well, Sarah's a bull in a china shop, and Holder is hair on a chin.
Right. Not by the hair of my chinny chin.
He's stubbly and sticking out there.
So the colonel and the cadet that Kyle punched, Lincoln.
Oh, no!
Oh, no, I forgot Carl.
You are skipping a vital
I forgot
thing.
Carl goes to the cabin.
Carl is at the cabin.
He goes to the cabin.
Yes.
I did have that right here. Carl goes to the cabin and the lock was broken.
Yes. And he goes in and he starts looking around. This is like, the last thing we saw was him talking to Skinner's wife, and she mentions the cabin. The next thing you have is him at the freaking cabin.
And with the way that these two have been so sloppy.
Right.
I can only
and we know that Holder went into the cabin.
Right. I can only imagine what he's going to find just laying around. I mean, because it's like...
Right. They took the shell casings. We know that.
Yeah, and then she lost them.
But there could be blood splatter on the ground. There could be... even though they could have pushed the leaves around and everything. It was night. It was dark. Do they know they got everything?
No.
Did he have a watch or something that fell off in the leaves? I mean, we don't know. So this isn't good.
Mm-mm.
This is not good. Okay, now you can get on to what happened with Lincoln.
The colonel and Lincoln.
And Lincoln's the guy...
The cadet that Kyle punched.
Right, that he beat up. He more than punched him. He beat him up.
I like to think
he beat him bloody.
He tells her that a young woman was in his room, and Lincoln tells the colonel this.
Right.
It was in Kyle's room, and he tells her what she said.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is another scene that, now, we that's not good. But we don't know. We talked about what she said last time about how...
Well, we know who she is.
Right.
And
we know what's going on.
Connected to the family.
It's very pointed at this point. With what he's saying that the colonel would think would be suspicious at this point. Once again, like we talked about in the last podcast, what she said did not... It implied that there was a connection there, but it really didn't mean that. When we really broke it down, it could be just that they were horrible people and she was glad they were dead.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew that his life was hell with them around. It didn't mean you're better off that you did this or that I did this. But when he tells the colonel, it sure sounds like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sarah has photos of the car that was there.
Yes.
And she asks another cop to look into it.
Yep. She needs help identifying the vehicle.
Right. Now, we had this earlier where the cop showed up with the car pictures of Skinner's car, and she's like, no, get out of here.
Never mind, don't want that one.
Yeah. Now she's got another car, and she wants a partial off.
And this time she actually wants the results.
Yes. Well, at this point, because this is Sarah, she could go, nope, done. Nope, don't want it. So, there we go.
And the colonel comes in at this moment.
Yes, it's at the station, at the police station.
And she tells Sarah that she knows where to find the girl because she got the scoop from Lincoln.
Right, and it's some concert that Katrina's going to be at.
She has a show that night. Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves! She's walking on sunshine.
Yeah.
It's Seattle. She's walking on rain clouds. Woo!
Nice.
And doesn't the sweater feel itchy?
And you like the smell of wool. All right, so
that's from my Killing tribute band.
What's the name?
Rosie and the Larsons.
Nice. Carl stops Holder and asks him again about the night that Adrian went missing.
Right.
Holder.
Oh, no.
I wrote Holder deflects him barely.
Right.
He is not. Carl is so.
But he does a decent job
to him.
Of deflecting him, but not if you're that suspicious. No. And Holder gets in the car, and he just kind of fluffs it off, but he gets in the car and he looks freaking worried. Oh no, this is not going well.
So Sarah tells him they have a lead on the girl.
Yeah, and he doesn't tell her about Carl immediately.
And Holder's eating chips. And Sarah asks if he's going to feed the kid that junk. Seriously, Funyun woman?
Right, I was going to say, didn't Jack mainly eat out of the
vending
machine?
She's a freaking vending machine mom, and
right.
She asks
and she's
him,
giving him crap about it.
They see Katrina, they go and find her, and they question her, and she said that the dad was trying to rehabilitate her, and it didn't work. And
she says she was living at the beach house. She basically just flips all of her cards.
Mm-hmm. And she said that she took a Haagen-Dazs bar out of the freezer, and he went nuts because
she was stealing or whatever.
And when
what did he think? He was doing like a My Fair Lady on her or something?
I think so.
It's weird.
And
this is a weird family.
When Kyle stood up to him, the dad punched Kyle in the face.
Right.
And she's like, they're a messed up family. And she said the mom flirted with Phoebe's boyfriends and taught tennis to the boys at high school until something happened.
Yeah.
And we don't know what happened.
Well,
some scandal.
She also said that the mother would walk around braless in front of the boyfriend. So it wasn't just flirting. She was like showing off the goods to the boyfriends. And yeah.
Some of us are walking around braless, not for that.
You're showing off the goods?
But because we're just...
Well, it's just you and I.
Lazy.
Just you and I, and no bra.
Gross. Nobody ever needs to hear any of that.
Yeah.
But
she also calls them mean and hateful people.
So yes.
That's another key thing.
And she is
painting a nasty
She was
picture.
In the beach house that night and heard the gunshots.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, she heard the gunshots. She heard a scream or the screams. And she got scared and ran, is what she says. And she's like, okay, there's my story. And they detain her. Because it's like, well, great, but you're not done. Mm-hmm. So they've now got her, even though I don't think she did anything. But I think they have to have her because she's involved. She was there.
And much like the reason that we don't believe she did anything is because we've seen the first 3 seasons.
Right.
And we know that they do this, and they'll just keep planting
kind of
people.
Plant you on
and
certain
so
things.
We're like, it's too early in the show to.
I also don't think that she did it. I just don't. She's not one that I have as a suspect. Now, I could be wrong. We could get to episode 6, and I could eat my words. I just don't think that it's going to be her. It just doesn't. Something doesn't match up for me there. I think that other people that are leading us to are probably not it. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised as we have been in the past. Not that it's pleasant, but we've gotten to the end of who it is, and we go, all the clues have been there the whole time, but oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think it's the obvious ones are the ones that really are not in.
Right. So Kyle and the one cadet, AJ, are shooting.
AJ's the one that's been nice to him.
Yeah, well.
Kind of.
I really question him and his motives.
He said before all this happened, AJ was a jerk to him.
Right.
But now AJ's like defending him and buddying up. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about AJ. I'm not sure about this Lincoln kid. There's something going on.
Well, AJ tells Kyle that the colonel was dishonorably discharged from the army.
Okay, did you see that coming?
No.
No, I thought she was.
She doesn't seem like
military.
Someone who would be washed out.
Right.
Of something, you know.
Right. She seems very hardcore about all this and very into it. So yeah, this is a pretty shocking revelation here.
Okay, how about this scene when Sarah takes Kyle?
Wait, Sarah comes up to them. Wait, no, Sarah walks up to him at the shooting range. I know you're just jumping ahead, but
excited.
It's important because they're standing there and they're shooting.
Well, that's why you're here.
And Sarah comes up and he's like, "You can't be here," and AJ's like, "You can't be here," and she says, "You're coming with me. We've got to do something." And she is very forceful with him.
Yeah, because she's off her nut in this episode.
So she takes Kyle to the house.
Yeah.
Physically grabs him and forces him through the house, pushing him into each of these.
And describing.
Yes.
This is where so-and-so was shot in the face, and this is where the blood was. I mean, just horrifying.
And she's doing what we've seen Holder do with that, like trying to force somebody to. She's bad cop at this point.
Yeah, and she's dragging him around, and she's replaying
and she takes him to like where Nadine was killed, and she really is hitting it home. And she's like, "You killed her right here. Admit it." And he ends up puking.
Right, well, because she's heinous.
Yeah, but he gets so upset that he has a physical reaction and throws up.
Well, and she asks him about Katrina, and then she goes on about with Nadine, and he says, Nadine was the only one who loved me. And he said, in this house, there was no music, no talking. They all hated me.
He calls it a house of silence.
Yeah, and he said, no one told the truth about anything.
Right.
And she asks him about the incident at the high school with his mom.
Right.
I mean, in the beginning, Holder's saying, look, everybody likes them. They have no enemies.
Right.
They did all these, and it's
We're
like,
getting a very different picture
Sarah
here.
said they have a secret. Oh, they have a lot of secrets.
Well, and when she asks him about the mom, he simply says nothing. About the moms, yeah. Mm-hmm. He simply says nothing. He also says he can't remember. Before that, he tells her he can't remember anything. Mm-hmm. But he says he knows he never could have killed Nadine. She is the one. This does not work because I would never hurt her.
Right.
And then she's like, well, what about your mom with this incident? And he's like, he just sits there. Now, I'm sure he knows.
Of course.
But this is nasty. He doesn't want to even drudge this up.
So Holder shows up at Carolyn's?
Yeah, Holder and Carolyn are there.
Okay.
And she starts talking about him being distracted.
Oh, this is just the worst dinner party ever. So he's missed the doctor appointment, the OBGYN appointment, which is a huge one. I mean, the first time you hear the heartbeat, all that. I mean, this is a big freaking deal.
Right.
And he missed it. And they're having dinner.
They're
she
going
says
to be going
they're
to
going to
dinner.
have dinner with his sister and her kids the next night.
Right. And this is important because, I mean, we know how he feels about his little nephew, little man.
Right.
And he has a rocky relationship with his sister. And Carolyn is trying to bridge these gaps. She's nesting. She's doing the whole thing. And he's in the middle of this storm and he's out of his mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he was in it before and he's slipping very quickly out of it. So I didn't think that he was going to start turning this quickly, but he is.
Oh, he's losing it.
He's losing it too. Sarah's really losing it.
He's losing it because of what happened and because of the pregnancy.
The pregnancy is the trigger, I think. But I think he was holding it together when the pregnancy happened. That's when he realized mortality and responsibility and all the things. Think about his past with the drug use and everything. I mean, this is tripping every wire on this guy.
That's not good.
No.
So Sarah gets home and she sees the shell casing.
Yeah.
But still not the other one.
Right.
It's still just the one.
Right.
And Jack, oh my gosh, mother of the freaking year. Jack came home for spring break. She goes, oh my gosh, I forgot to get you at the airport.
Did you get Funyuns? Did you get something out of the vending machine? Come on.
What is wrong with this woman?
Well, and the house, when she comes in, there's dirty clothes everywhere. I mean, how is she living at this point? You know? Well, I mean, come on. This did just happen. She just killed Skinner. So, I mean, her whole life is turned upside down. It's understandable that she would even forget this. I mean, Holder can't remember to go to the thing. She can't remember to even pick up Jack. But we also know her history, and she's been a pretty crappy mom in general.
I've always wondered, we keep talking about on the news and everything, they keep talking about these parents that leave their kids in the back seat of their car in their car seats.
Right.
And I have never been able to fathom that because I can't. I don't understand. I will never understand how you could be that busy or preoccupied that you could forget your child in the car. Okay.
Well, we have a friend that was left at McDonald's.
Okay, but she was grown.
But still, I mean, how do you forget that's still their child?
With a broken foot.
Yeah, she had a broken foot. They just left her at McDonald's.
But okay, so this is my point. Okay, so you sit there and you look at someone like Sarah and you go, she's the one.
Yeah.
She's the one who would leave her baby in the back seat of the car all day and go off to work and do her thing and go, oh, I thought I left him at daycare.
Right.
How do you freaking forget your kid? So she forgets her kid at the airport.
Yeah.
And she hasn't seen him
in
a really long time. And the fact that now he's coming home, you would think...
She'd be excited and waiting for it.
And he would be a priority.
It would be like the one normalcy in this storm she's living through.
She forgets him at the freaking airport, and he has to get himself to her house on the ferry and everything.
Right. Well, I'm sure he hung out with Cody.
And I'm pretty sure he's never been to this house, according to the rest of the show. I mean, we've never seen him at this house.
Right.
And the fact that...
He's got his GPS.
I mean, it's just... She's the one who'd leave her freaking kid in the back
seat
of the car. So Holder finally tells Sarah about Carl.
Right.
That he's sniffing.
Ugh. And he's completely freaked out when he tells her.
Because it's really bad.
Yeah. Well, and now Sarah's the voice of reason. And she tells him to keep it together. He's the one that said it to her repeatedly. This episode, it's flipped. Even though she's acting like a complete nut, now she's going to step up and say, you keep it together.
Yes.
I have a feeling Holder's not keeping it together. He seems to be slipping down a slippery slope.
Yes.
So Holder and Lyndon, they meet with the principal.
From the high school.
From the high school that Kyle's mom, Mrs. Stansbury,
had the scandal.
Yes.
And he tells them that she was fired.
Right.
And she had sex with a 16-year-old boy.
But no charges were filed.
No charges were filed. And after that, the kid came to school with a weapon.
Right.
And he won't give them the name of the kid.
Right.
But the kid brought a handgun with 50 rounds of ammo.
Holy cow.
So this woman really did a number on this kid.
She picked the right one.
Oh my gosh.
She picked the right one. This kid is messed up and she got involved with him. Who is this woman?
Right.
I mean, this is nuts. Okay, so washing that away, they're back at the station, and Carl has Bethany there.
Well, and he brings Sarah and Holder into his office, and she's sitting there. Bethany's sitting there.
Right. And
oh my gosh.
And Bethany says, now see, I thought this was a setup. Like they were trying to, like he was setting, like Carl set this up to try to trick them. But it turns out it's not.
I thought so too.
But I totally thought, because she says, oh, it's no big deal. My dad texted me this morning.
Right.
And I thought, BS, this is garbage. What is going on?
They're trying to, I thought maybe they were
like they're baiting them.
No, I thought they were trying to let them think we're off the scent. There's no case, while Carl finds all the dirt. So I was thinking he was just trying to,
That would be odd, though, to bring in the daughter of this guy just to do that ruse.
Right, but I just wanted...
But I thought the same thing. But as it was unfolding, I kind of went, yeah, no, I don't think he would have brought her in on it. He would have just said, hey, dogs are off because he texted. So he's apparently in Acapulco or whatever.
Okay, and how messed up is Sarah?
Yeah.
She's the one who has his phone.
Why does she still have his phone?
And it was her. And Holder's mad that she didn't tell him because she went and did this brilliant plan and didn't include him.
Again. Why does she have his phone?
First of all, why does she have his phone? Why is she texting?
Guess what? You can track phones.
Right.
If they decided to track his phone at any point here, they'd be able to see where she is or where it is and find that she has it.
Just dumb.
Yeah.
Once again, it just does not. It is just so far from what you would think a professional detective would.
Well, they're making weird choices,
but they are because they're panicked and they're not stopping and using any critical thought.
Right. And they're really starting to question each other at this point. There's just like trust is getting broken all over the place. This is not a good time for that. They need to trust each other implicitly here. They need to be
but they can't.
Unified.
How would she not tell him she has his phone and that she texted him?
She's not and he's not. They're both hiding things from each other. And it's making it so much worse.
So Kyle's buffing the floor. And the colonel tells him he can stop. And he was doing it because that was his punishment for having the girl over.
Right.
And she invites him to her house for dinner because everyone is gone for spring break. And he says, I really don't want to be
and I didn't get a weird vibe off this. Like
I didn't get a Mrs. Robinson vibe.
In other shows, I mean, this is the kind of thing where I kind of expected her to invite him.
Because she's kind of his mother.
She's kind of mothering, but I didn't get
Mrs.
a weird
Robinson.
No, I got very much.
Just
she's been this way. She's taking care of him.
I also got I eat alone every night.
Right, and we've seen her.
So you come and
she's sitting in that house, sitting there by herself, eating. Yeah.
So they're having dinner, and she asks about his college aspirations, and because he graduates in 3 months, and he tells her that Katrina's innocent,
right,
and he won't break the rules anymore,
and he apologizes for lying,
right, and he says that he knows how to play the piano. And she says, "Oh, I did ballroom dancing." She said, "I never learned the piano, but I did And so just kind of
just like you,
in like nice banter back and forth. Oh, I am good with the ballroom dancing. And
they also focus on a picture of her and Philip, the dad, from when they were in the military together. Mm-hmm. Okay, thought.
Yes.
Wait. This is a thought. They don't. I want to preface this by we have not watched ahead. It's not like I know anything. This is just something I'm thinking at this point. So this could be wacky or it could prove to be something. But when they talked about her getting dishonorably discharged and then we see her with Philip in this picture and the weird home life and everything, it makes me wonder, is there any possible way that she is Kyle's mother?
Oh. That
there was a relationship and they took him in, and that's why the mother is so messed up, and that's why everything is just so whacked out of control.
I never thought of that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Like I said, I mean, if it turns out that that's something that's happened, I don't want anyone thinking, oh, they spoiled it, they acted like they didn't know. We truly don't know anything. We haven't watched ahead. I just was thinking this as I was going through this episode.
That's weird. Yeah, but I could see why you would think that.
Yeah, I mean, I question
to
it.
See.
But, and that would be why she's so weird about everything.
That would make sense. Huh. And why she's so protective of him.
And why the rest of the family treated him like crap. Right.
If he wasn't actually related. He was different.
He was on the outs. But Nadine would have been younger than any of this.
Right.
The sister might have known, but the older sister might have known, but Nadine wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she's so loving to him. The other sister's like, you're from this horrible thing.
So at one point in this scene, the Colonel asks if his dad ever hurt him.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, once again, I think that in some weird way supports my theory that there's a broken relationship between her and Philip.
And the Colonel does say, I've been friends with your dad for 20 years, or I've known your dad for 20 years or something.
Right.
She said that in the first
There's
episode.
something about this, her and Philip's relationship.
Kind of interesting.
And why is she asking, did he ever hurt you?
Right.
Was he abusive to his wife? And that's why she's out there trolling for young boys.
Right.
And he went out and had an affair, and who knows? I mean, we're just speculating here, but.
And he says Nadine would have night terrors and claw and bite him.
Oh.
And
well, of course she's having night terrors. She's living in a house of horrors.
And his parents never came.
Right.
So they discuss grieving and loss and all that. Yeah. And he leaves, and the one cadet is watching him.
It's AJ. AJ's the one.
There's something so...
He watches him leave. I wrote...
creepy there.
There. I actually did lots of M's.
Something...
Yeah, what is up with this AJ? I can't figure out if...
He's got some agenda.
Yeah, but if
Why is he being nice to him all of a sudden after he bullied him all the other times? And why... is he following him? He was like in the bushes or something, watching him leave and watching him at this woman's house. And it's weird. I don't know what is going on there.
Well, and I also wonder, AJ had Kyle beat the crap out of Lincoln.
Yeah.
But if AJ bullied Kyle before now, he would have been a bully with Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
So why now, and why was it specifically Lincoln? Like, there's
something
weird. Something with these guys.
I don't know.
Okay,
we're gonna find out. We got to keep watching.
I know.
How many more episodes?
Apparently, we're watching a TV show and we're gonna get an answer.
Are there 3 more episodes?
I don't know. What are we on? Episode 3?
Yeah.
3 more.
3 more. It's going to be interesting to see how they wrap all this up in only 6 episodes.
I know.
All right, so Holder, okay, now they're having their family.
Well, because they've got to wrap up this.
Yeah.
And they have to wrap up the whole Sarah Skinner thing. I mean, this is big stuff in 6 episodes.
This is the most horrible, awkward family meal. Yeah. And Holder is talking about how he wants a home birth.
Ugh.
And he keeps yelling at his nephew, and it's like, what?
And he's swearing.
What is his freaking problem?
And he's like being mean to little man.
He's being really mean to his sister, and he swears at his nephew.
And he gives really bizarre parental advice.
And she turns on him because he's now sworn at the nephew. And Carolyn tries to get him to stop.
Right.
And then he turns on Carolyn.
Right.
And he says, you don't even know me. And he's just horrible to his sister, and she ends up crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is
it's
wrong
awful. He
with
says
him?
horrible stuff to her. And she says he's drunk.
He's drunk.
And he's sitting there drinking, and he's just, I mean, we get it. We get what's going on. Mm-hmm. But to them, they're like, who's this monster?
No, I don't get what's going on. I don't care what the hell's going on in the other areas of his life. He's taking it out on
I get that.
Carolyn
but
and
what I mean is it's not that we understand and are sympathetic towards it. It's that we have an insight that they don't. And you can see that he's breaking down, whereas they don't know he's breaking down. They're just like, why are you such a horrible, heinous person? And that's what his sister says. It's like, you're just an awful piece of junk, but we know
horrible.
We know why he's an awful piece of junk.
It doesn't matter. I'm
not saying I'm giving him a pass.
No.
I'm just saying we have an insight that they don't. Yeah.
So Sarah's with Jack and he's sleeping on the couch.
Right. Because she's Mother of the Year. Here's an idea, Sarah. How about if he gets the bed and you sleep on the couch because he's your son and you haven't seen him and you love him?
Anyway.
Right. But no.
And then we see Holder and he's doing drugs again.
He's in the car, and remember in the last season, I think it was?
Yeah, when he got the drugs.
And he actually, I don't think that was last season. Wasn't that in the last season with the second season with Rosie?
Season 2.
And he gets the drugs from his old drug dealer, and he put him in the car.
Yeah.
We thought that was going to come back as something to bite him, but it didn't. Instead,
well, it is.
It is. He uses it. He snorts the heroin.
I don't think you can snort heroin.
Absolutely, you can snort heroin.
I think it's coke.
I think it's heroin.
You can't snort heroin.
I think you can. Okay, are you going to your friend Google?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then we're going to do our magic of podcasting. We're going to jump into the future. So here we go. Are you ready? Remember, you did your... There you go. Do your thing.
You did it just nicely.
All right. So what'd you find out?
Okay.
Were those like electronic sounds I was making? I don't know what that was.
Yeah. It was annoying. So, it is not usual to snort heroin.
So I'm right. You can.
But it causes overdose and death. And
well, okay. But I said you can snort heroin. So I win.
I don't think you win. But when I was looking it up, I think most bloggers, etc., thought he was snorting cocaine.
Okay. So I could be wrong on what he snorted, but I'm right that you can snort heroin. I know you can.
You can, but you shouldn't. Well, I mean, you shouldn't do heroin. But
PSA from Martha.
But especially snorting it is not advised because it will cause a lot of harm.
Right.
Right from, it's easy to overdose when you do it that way.
Right.
But maybe he was trying to kill himself. Who knows?
Yeah, that could be. And wasn't that what he was on before was heroin? Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
So it makes sense that what he took would be heroin.
I just am thinking it was cocaine.
Okay.
But anyway. So he's doing drugs again. So
this is cool. We're like in the future now.
Sarah's driving somewhere.
Okay.
We don't know where.
Yeah.
She's just driving. So once again, she left him alone.
Right.
Jack is home alone, sleeping on the couch.
Right.
Give him the freaking bed. You're never there.
Right. Well, she left him some Funyuns, and well, not really.
Probably not.
There's a half-eaten bag of Funyuns in the garbage, and
maybe she thought he was in the car, and she just forgot.
Maybe now she's going to pick him up at the airport.
Yeah. So Holder's back at a meeting, at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. He starts attacking people at the meeting.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Okay.
And then when it comes to him,
bad. The informant is sitting there.
Yes. Well, when it comes to him, he starts basically confessing to killing a cop.
He said he killed someone and got away with it.
Right.
And the informant is right freaking there.
And he says, I've got a body on my grill.
Right.
And man, he is hit rock bottom.
Yeah, he's really falling apart.
But yeah, then the camera moves and there's that freaking CI of Carl's sitting there.
Who used to be Holder's CI.
Yep. Oh, it's not good.
This is so bad. This is so dangerously bad.
So here's more bad. Sarah is at Skinner's lake
Oh,
house.
did you see this coming?
No.
Did
She's standing there. She's looking out in the water, and she takes the phone. Finally, she's going to get rid of it. She chucks it into the water. Okay? Probably should have done that the first night. Probably should have wiped it off and thrown it in there the first night.
But Skinner's freaking wife is at the cabin watching her.
Yes.
Oh
That I did not see.
I did not see coming. And we have to also say, the cop got the results, and it was Lincoln.
Yes, it's Lincoln that brought the gun to school.
It's Lincoln who was molested by his mom, by Mrs. Stansberry.
And Lincoln is the one that brought the gun to school. So, adding up, I don't know.
My gosh. But Skinner's wife, what the heck is she going to do?
Is see Sarah do this. Now, she doesn't know what this is.
It doesn't matter. She's seen something getting
Sarah's
thrown
up there.
In the cabin?
Yes. Not in the cabin.
I mean, but she's in the cabin and
in the lake.
And she already has been talked to by Carl.
Right. And so the lake house has come up in these conversations.
Ooh, yeah. This is so bad. This is so bad. We have to go watch the other episode.
This is really bad. Okay.
Because I have to know what happens.
So we're gonna jump right into the next episode then. Thank you for listening, everybody. You can find past episodes of this and all of our podcasts at our website, which is www.southgatemediagroup.com. You can also find us on Tumblr, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. I mean, basically, if there's a social media thing, we're there. Somebody even wrote me on Google+. Not that we ever do anything on there, but we do have a Google+ for Southgate Media Group. And the way you look us up, and also Facebook, obviously. You can find us at The Killing Podcast on these things, or look up Southgate Media Group. To follow us on Twitter, you can follow the show at The Killing Pod. You can follow Martha at
SMG Pods.
Or me at R Southgate. And Martha and I both send out tweets about all the different titles we have. We have 40 different titles in our network now. So we tweet about when new shows are on or when special things are going on, not just about The Killing. So if you want to find out about the other stuff, make sure you subscribe to those or follow us on those. If you want just Killing news, just go to at The Killing Pod, and that's all we tweet from there. Find us on iTunes, rate us, review us. It really helps us out. And also, you can find us on Stitcher. Give us a thumbs up on there. We appreciate that. We're on TuneIn Radio and Podomatic and Podbean, and we're on 30 different directories. So we should be where you get your podcast entertainment. Oh, and SoundCloud too. I never mentioned that one, but that one is kind of a different case. You can download the episodes there and listen to them at your leisure. So that's another option you have. That's it. Let's wrap this up. For The Killing Podcast, I'm Rob Southgate.
I'm Martha Southgate.
And I'm still hoping that the next episode we find out where that other casing is. If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.